Well, hey, howdy, hi. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by to join me today. I really do appreciate it. My name is Ellie, and I'm a witch, and this over here is my teaching assistant, Angie, and today is Monday, and on my channel that means it is Misheard History, and today's topic is the El Paso Salt War. So I didn't tell y'all last week what I was going to be doing today because I didn't really figure it out until a few days ago, but that's what today is, and because I didn't tell y'all what tomorrow's video is going to be about, it's about the murder in room 1046. Also, before I jump into the video, I tried to do the cute little hearts on my face and just something cute for today, and I low-key think I look like Mickey Mouse, which I'm not entirely mad at, but if somebody wanted to confirm or deny that in the comments, please do. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So to start, I actually want to give some background information. So the Rio Grande is a natural barrier to West Texas. Spanish colonists and Mexicans settled several communities along the southern banks of the river. Before the Angle Dam was created, the river would flood often. Now, San Elizario was a large community founded in 1789, but in 1829, a flood changed the course of the river. This left San Elizario a new island between the old and new channels of the Rio Grande. The importance of the island came up in 1836. The newly independent Republic of Texas claimed the Rio Grande as their southern border in the new country. This meant that the nationality of the people of San Elizario was up for debate. That was until the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848. The treaty ended the Mexican-American War and identified the southern channel as the official international boundary. In 1853, a treaty that sold the territory that San Elizario was in was created, called the Gadsden Purchase, and was completed by the U.S. It made San Elizario the largest community between San Antonio, Texas, and Santa Fe, New Mexico. Now, the American Civil War caused many big changes to the political landscape of West Texas. The war ending and the Reconstruction brought a lot of new entrepreneurs to the area. In San Elizario, the families had deep roots and were not welcoming to newcomers. At the start, many Republicans settled in Franklin, Texas, a trading village across the Rio Grande. By the beginning of the 1870s, the Democratic Party began reclaiming political influence in the state, though. The Democrats were not accepted by the people of San Elizario, though, as their ties remained to Mexico. Alliances shifted and different rivalries developed between Hispanic, Republican, and Democratic factions in West Texas. Now, at the base of the Guadalupe Mountains, which is about 100 miles northeast of San Elizario, lies a series of dry saline lakes. Before the pumping of water and oil began, West Texas had a periodic shallow water table which paired with capillary action that drew salt of a high purity to the surface. The salt was highly valued as it had a lot of uses, preserving meat or replenishing what sweat took from humans and animals, for example. Its value made it a commodity for bartering along the El Camino Real de Sierra Adentro. In 1863, the people of San Elizario built a road running east to the Salt Lakes. Early residents of the valley were granted community access by the King of Spain, and this right was grandfathered in by the Republic of Mexico, and in accordance with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. But beginning in 1866, the Texas Constitution allowed individuals to stake claims for mineral rights, thus overturning the community rights. In 1870, a group from Franklin claimed the land where the salt's deposits were located. They were not able to gain sole ownership, and a feud over control and ownership began. William Wallace Mills favored private ownership, Louis Cardis favored the concept of commonwealth, and Albert Jennings Fountain favored county government ownership with community access. Cardis and Fountain joined together and were called the anti-salt ring, while Mills was leader of the opposing salt ring. Now, Fountain was elected to the Texas State Senate and began pushing for the government ownership with community access plan. San Elizario's Spanish priest, Father Antonio Barajo, opposed the plan and gained support of Cardis. On December 17, 1870, supporter of Mills, Judge Gaylord J. Clark, was killed. Fountain and Cardis fought with every political and legal tool at their command. In 1873, Republicans lost government control in Texas, and Fountain left El Paso and moved to the New Mexico Territory. In 1872, Charles Howard came to the region to try and restore the Democratic Party in West Texas. He became rivals with Mills, so he struck up an alliance with Cardis, who had influence with the Hispanic voters. Cardis, though, had a stronger allegiance to the former citizens of Mexico rather than to a political party. Howard was elected district judge, and at that time he started feuding with Cardis over who would be the county's political top dog. In the summer of 1877, Howard filed a claim for the Salt Lakes in the name of his father-in-law, George Zimpelman, an Austin capitalist. Howard offered to pay anyone who collected salt the going rate, but he insisted the salt was his. The Mexican descendants of San Elizario, encouraged by Father Barajo with the support of Cardis, gathered and kept salt in spite of Howard's claim. They then fell back on the long-standing tradition of local self-government, forming committees in San Elizario, as well as neighboring towns Socorro and Yacelta, to determine a community-based response to Howard's actions. During that summer, they held several secretive, decisional, and organizational meetings. On September 29, 1877, Jose Maria Juarez and Macedonia Gindera threatened to collect a wagon load of salt. When Howard learned of their activities, he had the men arrested, and he went to court in San Elizario that evening to have them legally restrained. Now, a faction of armed men arrested the complainant jurist, while others went in search of Howard. Under the leadership of Francisco Chico Barella, they seized Howard and marched him back to San Elizario. He was finally released on October 3rd upon payment of a $12,000 bond and his written relinquishments of all rights to the salt deposits. Howard immediately left for New Mexico, where he stayed briefly with Fountain. He did soon return, though, and on October 10th, he shot and killed Cardis in El Paso. He then fled back to New Mexico. People in El Paso County were outraged. They put a stop to all county governments and replaced it with community military groups daring the sheriff to do something. In response to the pleas of a frightened Anglo community, notably this was a community with less than 100 people, Texas Governor Richard Hubbard sent Major John Jones, commander of the Texas Rangers Frontier Battalion, to El Paso. On November 5th, Jones met the military leaders, negotiated their agreements to obey the law, and arranged Howard's return, arraignment, and release on bail. Jones also recruited 20 new Texas Rangers. The new recruits were Anglos, Native Americans, Civil War veterans, an experienced lawman, an outlaw, and a few community pillars. The unit lacked tradition or cohesion, despite including multiple capable men. On December 2nd, 1877, Howard returned to San Elizario in the company of 20 Texas Rangers. Once again, though, armed insurgents descended upon them. Howard and the Rangers took shelter in a building and were able to move to the town church. After a 2-day siege, the Rangers surrendered, which has been the only time in history a Texas Ranger unit has surrendered. Howard, Ranger Sergeant John McBride, and John Atkinson were immediately executed by firing squad, their bodies then hacked into pieces and dumped into a well. The rest of the Rangers were disarmed and sent out of town. The civic leaders in San Elizario fled to Mexico, and the people of the town looted the buildings. In total, 12 people were killed and 50 were wounded. Besides the casualties, the war cost about $31,050 in property damages. Additionally, many crops were lost since many farmers did not till or harvest their fields for several months. The loss in wheat crops alone was an estimated $48,000. As a result of the unrest in San Elizario, it lost its status as county seat, which was relocated to El Paso. When the railroad came to West Texas in 1883, it bypassed San Elizario. The town's population decreased, and ethnic Mexicans lost most of their political influence in the region. And that is all that I have for you today. This one was a weird one because most of the information is background information rather than what actually happened, because it was literally like 2 days of violence, and that was that, and then people just were executed or fled, and so most of what happened was the lead up. But yeah, that's what I could find for you guys today. It was really interesting, mainly because like it was over salt. Like that was the whole thing. If they had just been like, okay, y'all can have the salt, everything would have been fine. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below, or you can send me an email, which again, my email is in the description box. As I said, tomorrow will be the murder in room 1046, which is actually the murder of Artemis Ogletree. I also said that I would give you guys one more update, and I'll do it in this video rather than tomorrow's, for the streams. I'm going to be doing both Wednesday and Thursday this week, which is going to be the 19th and 20th, if I'm not mistaken. So those are going to be at noon, starting at noon. I'm thinking maybe going until 4 or 5, maybe, if I have, anybody watching, or if I don't get bored of the game. So yeah, and then I have plans to do other streaming events in future. I think next week I also want to do at least one stream, but I do have my second interview for a job on Wednesday morning, so we'll kind of have to go based off of that if I get that job or not. So then my streaming will switch to late evenings. But yeah, so I don't want to take up any more of your time. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.